Hello. Welcome to the channel. This is Alfred. So today we'll pick up from where we stopped the last time. Our goal for today is to produce this user interface, right? If you haven't watched the introductory video of this project, the link is in the comment section or in the description for you to go check it out. But definitely something that you want to check out. So now let's go ahead and open up the project from where we stopped. All right, this is pretty much where we stopped the last video. In this project, I will do my best to always try to pull and commit, pull in the beginning of the video and commit at the end of the video, if I remember. So right now, let's go ahead and fetch. So even though I know that I'm the only one writing this project, so nobody else is contributing, but it's always a good idea to make sure that your project on your computer is in sync with what you have in the GitHub repository. So let's go ahead and, so we did a fetch and we don't have anything new. So we know that we are good and we haven't made any changes since the last time we stopped at the video. So which is perfect. So now let's go ahead and jump right in to the creation of the user interface. So let's go ahead and make this a little bigger. So now let's go ahead and change. So you see, as soon as I just made a change, we have a one change on our repository. So let's go ahead and change this to font size 24 so we can see better. And let's go ahead. So let me pull what the project looks like. So this is typical what I do. I start with the column. So in this project, I think I want to do a 2-column because of these 2 buttons right here. So 2-column, then our role will be 1, 2. You know what? I want to put all of this in a stack panel, then put the button in its own grid. Don't ask me why, that's just what I want to do with it. So let's go ahead. So we know that we need 2 columns. So let's define our column. Then column definition, we want it to, let's go ahead and put our weight as, let's allow it to grow, and let's go ahead and Control C, Control V. Now let's go ahead and create our role, grid role definition. So now we counted 2, right? Yeah, it was 2. So let's go ahead and define 2 roles. And the height, let's leave it as auto. Let's go ahead and Control C, Control V. So our goal is to make this as easy as possible. So the next thing we want to do, the first thing that was on our list was the text block and text box. So we want that to be in a stackable panel, just so it will stack everything very nicely for us. So the first thing that was in there was a text block, and it was save location. Save location, yeah. Let's call it save to file location. That looks good. Then the next thing we had was a text box. Perfect. And for the sake of this video, let's go ahead and put something in there for now. So, let's just call it a first name list text file, right? Text file dot text file. Yep. All right, that looks good. So I don't know if you are able to see it over here. So now, as you can see, this is too wide, and I would like to reduce this to say 500. All right, that's better. So as you can see, everything is falling on our first column. We don't want that. So we want our stack panel to have a column span of 2 so that they will spread out on both columns. So however, I like to sort of give all the columns, explicitly define all my columns. So let's go ahead and do that. So in my columns and rows, so we want it to be in column 0 and row 0, which is perfect. However, we want the column to span 2 columns. So now everything is lined all the way back and back. And I don't want it to be so close to the edge. So I am going to put a margin of, let's do 10. Okay, I like it. 10 all around, 10 margin all around. I like it. So that's perfect right there. So now let's continue with our stackable panel. So the next thing is the list view. So let's go ahead and close out of that, and let's get ahead and give it a minimum height of 200. Yep, I like that. 200, that looks good. So the next thing we want is, let's pull up our template again. So we want a text block and a text box, then a button. So as you could see, we are about to repeat these two controls. So whenever you do this sort of repetition or duplicates like this, start thinking of user control. We will get to that very soon. So now we are going to say enter first name here. All right, then our text box, we will just have our, let's just have my name for now there. All right, that looks good. So the next thing we need is a button. So let's go ahead and say add name to list. Let's do that. That looks pretty good. So that's all we want to be in our start panel. Let's move away from our start panel and create the delete button, which is button. So we'll say delete name. So now this button doesn't know where to stay. It just chose by default to be in row 0 and column 0, right? So let's go ahead and explicitly tell it where to stay. Column, we want it to be in column 0, which is fine. Then we want it to be in row number 1, which is this guy right here. All right. So now we want to put a margin. I don't want it to touch this other button. So let's go ahead and put a little bit of a margin there. So on the left side of the margin, we want 0. On the top, we want it to be 10. On the right, we want it to be 20. Then at the bottom, we want it to be 0. We don't care about that. So that looks good. So now we want another button here that will be saved to file. Control C, Control V, and right now we want it to be in column number 1, right? Perfect. So that looks good. Then the margin, we want the right margin to be 20. Then the top margin to be 10. That's fine. Then the right margin to be 0 and the bottom 0, which is gorgeous. So let's pull it back up. So just take a look, make sure we didn't miss anything. I think that should be fine. Yeah, that's fine. So just align this in the middle. All right. Do I really need to? No, I think that's fine. That's fine. All right. So that's pretty much all we have for the user interface. When we come back the next video, part number 3, we should go over how to create this user control. Remember how I mentioned that we did duplicate work here? We will just have 1 instead of 2 on each, and that will save us about 2 lines of code, right? But then again, the user control will have a little bit more feature that it will be worth doing, and you can use it again and again on future projects, right? So that's what we want to do. So right now, I think we will stop right here, and if you want to follow along in this series and follow along on this project, go ahead and subscribe. Hit the bell icon so that you get notification as soon as I post it. And I hope this was useful. I will talk to you later. Bye bye.